The next talk, titled Essential Content Plugins for Your WordPress Website, presented by the legendary Laura Byrne. In this session, we'll explore four must-have plugins that streamline content creation, enhance design, and boost audience engagement. They include Yoast, Stackable, Gravity Forms, and Newsletter. Everyone give a warm welcome to Laura Byrne.
Thank you, Caleb. Let's see if I can. There we go. Try not to break the tech. Okay, so a little introduction about me. My name is Laura Byrne. I am primarily a content creator. I have been writing content for the web since I won the prize at my job of circa a 25-year-old, where they said, "You're the young person at work. Can you figure out this newfangled website thingamabobby? It's your job." I was an English and Spanish major. So there I went. First started off dabbling in Microsoft Front Page, if anybody remembers that. Puddled around with Dreamweaver a bit. And then in January of 2006, one of my friends was doing a fan website for this book that she just read and said, "Hey, I built this in this new thing called WordPress. You want to help me with this website?" And I said, "Yeah, all right, I'd like to learn it because this front page thing is killing me." So she and I embarked on a blogging journey for what was then a little known book. Perhaps you all have heard of it. It's called Twilight. And Lori and I accidentally created the most viral Twilight website on the internet, at which point I learned WordPress and WordPress deeply and a lot of things that went along with WordPress, and parlayed that into a secondary career that was centric around WordPress. A lot of it is content creation. I've created content for well over 100 WordPress websites in a variety of editing experiences, classic editor, block editor, pick a page builder. I have probably created content in it with one notable exception. I've never created content in Beaver Builder. That wasn't by choice, it's just really dumb luck. It just never came up. But anyway, that's a little bit of my background with WordPress and creating content. And then also, incidentally, for a lot of my life, I have been involved in nonprofits, and I understand that if you're in a nonprofit or you're at a small business, there is not a single day that you just do whatever the job description said. You're doing a million things. So like if you're the website person, you're also possibly handling a plumbing emergency. You know, you're doing everything, and we've all been there. So I understand how valuable your time is as a content creator if you are a volunteer, you know, or you have a family business, or, you know, whatever it is. Sometimes it's like, "Hi, I am the marketing department." So what my talk about is today is how this can make your job easier. Just some tools that I have found that really extend your time. And you can pretty much find me everywhere on the web at New Yorker Laura. I am currently an account manager at Web Dev Studios. You can see I'm wearing their sweatshirt. That's what I am at my day job, but I'm New Yorker Laura on all social media, and you can also find me on newyorkerlaura.com, and that's where my slides will be up later. Okay, so what's taking center stage today? You will see that I will be using a variety of theater metaphors as we go along, because I am, in fact, that drama kid. Also, I am a 20-year board member at Montclair's own Studio Playhouse, located right down there on Valley Road, and I am, in fact, their webmaster, so I am using them in my examples later on. So lots of theater metaphors coming your way. So we're going to be talking about a variety of content-centric plugins, all of which will work on block editor, classic editor, and page builders, with one slight exception on the page builders, and I'll get to that when we get there. Letting you know it's not an exhaustive list. I know sometimes people have very strong feelings about different additional blocks onto WordPress. I have tested a lot of them. I'm giving you my recommendation for my personal favorite. That is not to say that others are junk. I am just telling you what I like the best and why. So no knock on anybody else's product. A lot of the items that I will be showcasing are free. Yay, free is great. Some of them do have paid extensions, as these things go. If free gets you what you need, fantastic. If you need more functionality, the paid versions of things that I am talking about, I think if you added them all up, you'd get to like a whopping $125. So they're not super expensive on a yearly cost. And there were lots of other non-content-centric plugins that I love. They're just not the focus of today's talk, but if you would like to hear my opinion on a variety of like caching plugins or something like that, feel free to ask me after. It's just not the focus of where I'm going today. All right, so let's get started. First plugin I want to talk about is by my friends at Yoast. I am not paid by Yoast to come out and be their cheerleader, but I am, in fact, a cheerleader. I really love the plugin. There are a variety of SEO plugins out there on the market. I've used a lot of them. In my personal opinion, Yoast has the best product, and I'm going to tell you why, and there are two reasons for it. Number one, there is the most famous plugin that Yoast does. It's kind of the one that everybody thinks about, which is Yoast SEO, which does exactly what you think it does. It helps you with your SEO. You put it in, and it works like a traffic light. Red light, yellow light, green light. Red light, you need some work on the page. Gold light, not so bad. Green light, yes, you've done it. So it's a great, helpful item. They also have, when you work on some of the paid models, one of my favorite aspects of their paid model is something called the internal linking tool, which it instantaneously lets you know related content. It gives you suggestions because SEO is helped to be built by linking within your website, and it will make recommendations for you, particularly if you have a vast blog catalog, what is the most relevant thing to link to. So that's one of the reasons I like Yoast SEO. Another reason I like Yoast SEO, if you have a local brick and mortar business, they also have a paid add-on that is for local brick and mortar businesses that helps you with that local in your neighboring zip codes SEO, and that's something we've definitely used with the Studio Playhouse website, and has really helped us for things like cast announcements, shows going out, things like that, really getting the word out. And if you know Montclair, there are something like 65 arts organizations in Montclair. Trying to get your news heard when you are competing with 69 other things in the same zip code is quite the trick. Two additional features I want to highlight off of Yoast that a lot of people don't know about. Raise of hands here. How many people are currently using the block editor as your interface? Okay, cool. Probably about third or quarter of the room, I'd say. One of the things when you install the Yoast plugin, and many people don't know this, because when you install a plugin and it comes with blocks, it'll come into your block catalog, but they tend to do them in alphabetical order. And in case you haven't noticed, Yoast begins with Y. So those additional blocks are all the way down the bottom of your smorgasbord list. You might not have noticed they are there. They have two that are really cool, and they're kind of related. One is an FAQ block plugin, and not plugin, sorry, FAQ block and a how-to block. Now, a lot of times people will use things like accordions to do an FAQ block. The problem is that the schema on them is not always done correctly. So what happens is what's hidden in your accordion, you don't get an SEO crawl on it. If you use the Yoast FAQ block, it is set up correctly. So if you are using an FAQ on your page, first of all, I'm not saying it's always wrong if you're using an accordion. It's something to check out. But the Yoast ones are right out the box. So nice featurette. Same thing on their how-to blocks. Same thing, like we're going like step-by-step directions kind of thing, do this, then that, and like indented bullet pointed lists. Again, sometimes the schema is wrong on those things when people try to do those by hand. The Yoast block gets it right out of the box. So two really cool things to check out. Next one up is a plugin that people don't know about, and it's called Yoast Duplicate Post. It's free. Yay. It's also, in my personal opinion, misnamed. It should be called Duplicate Page/Post because it's just got the wrong name on it. So what it lets you do, and here's what's really cool about it, it lets you clone an exact copy of an existing page or post. You can then do one of two things with it. If you have a page and you just like love the layout, you worked on it, you really got it good, and then you kind of want to use it as like a template for another page as a starting point, you can do that. You can clone that page, you can then change the slug, and then you can kind of replace your items, do what you want to do, right? It's a nice jumping off point. Number two, the other thing you can use it for, and this is what I use it for, is you can clone your page. Now this is like an evergreen page, okay? So for example, let me talk about Studio Playhouse here. Something like our season. As you can imagine, our season changes every season. So here's what happens. We're doing a social media rollout of like, this is the next show, and then the next show, and like we're on Instagram, and we're on TikTok, and all the places, and we're building excitement. My social media manager is having lots of fun, and I'm on an airplane. I can't change this, I'm on a plane. So what Yoast Duplicate Post lets you do, it lets you duplicate the page as it exists now. It lets you revise all the content on it. You keep the same slug, you revise all your content, and then it tells you when to republish the page using the new content. It keeps the slug, the SEO is still good, you're just revising the page. It's very similar to a plugin that was called Revisionary that was out a couple of years ago, but the Yoast folks have it. The SEO is still good on it. So what it does is if you have evergreen content, you can say 2 weeks from now, update this evergreen content to something else. You don't have to be sitting at the keyboard to pull the trigger. And it is functional on either a post or a page. Like I said, I don't know why they called it duplicate post. They named it the wrong thing. There's also a couple new things I noticed with it. Full disclosure, I've not checked it out yet. Apparently, they just added a bulk actions feature to it where you can do like lots of pages. I have not checked that out yet, but apparently there's some bulk feature you can do. So it's there, be curious yourself. And there's lots of cool like permissions control you can do on it. Like if you don't want everybody doing this, you can set controls as to like who does what, right? Alrighty, let's talk about the next one. The next item I want to talk about is Stackable. So I really love the native block editor, Gutenberg block editor. And after I go through each plugin overview, I'm going to flip over to the Studio Player's website so you can kind of see all this under the hood and how it's all going to work. But I love the block editor. It saves me time. It's got a drag-drop interface. I can be so much more creative. Back in the days of classic editor, I will tell you, I spent so much time trying to align images, going, all right, right align. Nope, that's in the wrong place. Kick it down a little bit. Nope, still in the wrong place. One more time. Third time's the charm. Block editor, I can get it right the first time. I can quickly drag, drop, fix it. I can do things with columns. I can do all sorts of really cool, amazing things that I could never do before or would do badly. But now the native block editor lets you do all that. Well, here's the thing. As much as I love that native block editor, it does come with limitations. And Stackable helps me overcome those limitations, I should say. It's a third-party block plugin, and it comes with a cadre of, I don't know, about 40-odd blocks that it comes with. Some of them are features that you will not find in core WordPress blocks. For example, carousels or sliders. How many people need a carousel or a slider on your page? Doesn't come in core WordPress. Stackable's got one. How many people like really fun charts and graphs, like pie charts and what do you call those? Bar graphs, things like that. That's not in core. Stackable's got it. Also, extensions, and the single most valuable block they have that I use is the posts lists block. They are better than what is core and any other block out there. And I'll show you why. I get amazing control on saying what kind of posts I want to go where based on tags and or categories. Nobody's got that. I can design really cool backgrounds in them. I can do overlays. I can do all kinds of things. I am, just like Jody, I am not a designer. I know what looks good, for the love of God. Don't ask me to do it. That's not gonna happen really well. But they give you these layouts that I'm like, yep, apply my brand colors. Yep, that's what I'm looking for. Even things like opacity over the top of an image. You want like a nice little overlay. I don't know where to start. Do I start at 25%? Do I start at 50%? I don't know where to start. They've taken that guesswork out, so I've got a good jumping off point, which is awesome. So it lets me look like a designer when in fact I assure you I am not. So it helps make me look really, really good. Okay. The next one I want to talk about is one that probably a lot of us have used. A lot of us hopefully are not hard coding forms. I heard a previous speaker talking earlier about how somebody had hard coded their site entirely in PHP. I feel that pain. One site that I was managing one point, for reasons best known to them, they hard coded their form. It was a nightmare every time somebody tried to update anything. So there's lots of different form builders out there. Again, I'm not here to knock anyone else's form builder, but I feel like Gravity Forms is the easiest, the most intuitive. It does come with a license. I think it's like $50 a year. It is worth every penny. And it does a lot of things, aside from just like your standard, name, email, address, contact, let me get back to you. It has a lot of other really cool things. Now with its latest incarnation, it's all drag drop. You can move around the fields on the forms really, really easily. You can duplicate fields really easily. Conditional logic is my friend. God, do I love conditional logic. I can work with my contact form, and if it's a box office question, it goes to the box office people. If it's a general question, it goes to me. If it's an usher question, it goes to the usher manager. I don't have to be the sole source figuring out where every inquiry went. It also has really cool things, such as we are now apparently on a spam list from all over the place, and I have tried to fix this 10 different times. I finally came up with a cool way with conditional logic, and I'll show you how I managed it to fight the bots when we get there. Other things that we use Gravity Forms that I love it for, that people don't think about all the time, we use it for audition signups and submissions, again, kind of like your name, address, all that kind of thing. Upload your headshot ahead of time. Upload a link to a video audition piece, something like that if we have that. Check off on our photo policy. Like, there's all kinds of things you can do at Gravity Forms that our stage managers don't have to do anymore. We've got all the form submission going on at the very beginning. It saves a lot of work for us. Other things we also do, standard volunteer intake. We also use it for things like quick payments. You don't need to go out to something like WooCommerce, no knock against WooCommerce, but we have yearly memberships, as you can imagine. It's just a Gravity form. It's a simple Gravity form with Stripe hooked up to it. And it's really easy just to do our yearly memberships on it and workflow emails coming out of that. It's nice and simple. Notifications go to a variety of people, from our finance person to our membership manager. It makes it nice and easy. So the next one and the last one I want to talk about is a plugin that has a gift for the obvious as what it does in its name. It is called the newsletter. Like many of you, how many people out here, when you needed a newsletter, you started on Constant Contact? How many people started on MailChimp? I started on MailChimp. I was an early adopter. Remember when they gave you 10,000 free contacts on MailChimp, and then they cut you off at the knees and limited those to 2,000? Yeah. It rapidly became not possible to pay for this any longer with a nonprofit. Even with the nonprofit rate, we were going broke on MailChimp. I was like, there has got to be a better way of doing this. So we found a really cool WordPress plugin called the Newsletter. And it lets me create, shocker, a newsletter right in WordPress. I can feature posts, pages. I can organically put anything, just, new content myself. Lots of great call to action buttons. It can interface. You can either use lots of different mail services can interface with it. I personally am using Mailgun for it, but there's lots of different options with it. And free gets you really far with it. In fact, I can get by mostly with free. I just liked it so much that the paid version was only $69 a year. And I was like, you know what? I just want to thank these guys who made this plugin. We were paying something like $125 a month on MailChimp. I was like, I'll pay these guys $69 for a year just to say thank you. And I don't even need the pro version, but I just want to say thank you. So really great plugin, and I'll love to demo it for you. Okay, so give me a minute here as I'm going to flip over to the back end of the Studio Player's website. We're going to take a little peek behind the curtain and see these plugins in action. If you want to play around with any of these plugins, I think a couple of people have highlighted this website earlier. It's at wordpress.org/playground. And basically what it does is it just spins you up a really quick temporary WordPress site. I think you have access to it for like 12 hours, something like that. And you can load up a plugin and say, wonder what this does, and see what it does. Obviously, it would be a free version, but you can load a plugin in there and just kind of test it out and decide, is this thing for me? So anything that I'm showing off here, if you want to check it out, this is the perfect place where you can, in fact, check that out. So give me 1 second as I switch over here. Okay. So if you're in the Montclair area, come meet us, come sign up for a show. Great performing arts. I'm sure you'll love our season. But let's talk about some things here. All right, so like I said, I am not a designer. If I just scroll down my homepage here, thank you to Canva for helping me make my overview here, my hero here. But as I come down here, these 3 blocks going across here, this is a list block out of Stackable, and when we get under the hood here, I'll show you a little more how this works. Come down a little more. This block here, which is a 50/50 block with a nice gray background on this, this is also provided by Stackable. Come down a little more. I am here to tell you I could never have done this block without Stackable. My container has a nice background. It has a rounded edge on the corner. I roll over it. You can see I have a nice little bit of a motion that it, attracts the eye. If you take a look again, the bottom end pops up a little bit that says tickets. A lot going on here. It's nice. It's not overkill. It's just some nice features. I could never have done this in WordPress core. I would have had to have hired somebody to do this for me. Free out of Stackable. Took me 10 minutes to figure out how to do it. Pretty awesome. So let me just log into this page and I'll show you a little bit about what's going on here. In particular, I want to take a look at what's going on right here, which is what I said is the Stackable most recent posts block. It gives me so many options on what to do. There are a myriad of different layout styles that I can put these posts in. You don't get that in WordPress core. You can decide how many columns, border radiuses, shadows, all kinds of things, the order of my content. I get to decide how much I want to show off here. Featured image, I didn't really care about the category. You want to show a category, you can show a category. We didn't want to. lots and lots of options at my fingertips as to what I want to show here. What I'm feeding here on my front page, these are just posts. The posts from the front page are things that I have assigned the category of featured to. Anything that's featured appears on the front page. I've also assigned it that I only want it to show off the most 3 recent posts. You can even do more granular control than you want. If you wanted to skip a specific post for a reason, you can input a post ID and say, don't display this one. There's lots of different things you can do. Maybe? Yeah, ask me after, maybe. Ask me after. But to give you ideas on like other areas where I'm doing it, same concept here. Let me go over to another page. Another place that I'm doing this over on is over here on my auditions page. Come down here. I'm just showing the posts that I have labeled as audition. Same concept coming up over here. If I go to my DEI page, I am just labeling the posts that are germane to the DEI committee. And you can see I've gone for a different layout over here. And you can play around. There's other things about Stackable, giving you another idea of just, again, I'm not a designer, but I'd like to look a little better. Things like our board of directors. I couldn't create this layout. There's no way I could do this. Stackable let me do it. So it's a great extension. The other thing with Stackable too, like I said, it comes with about, I don't know, like 30 some odd things you can do. You can turn off the ones you're not using. So if you want to avoid kind of bloat, you literally just go in and be like, all right, I'm using like these 5. And you just like turn off the ones you're not using. So you don't have to see like, oh my gosh, I have too much choice, right? So you can turn off what you're not using. The other thing that I really like about the blocks that they add, when you're in the menu, I'll log in real quick here and show you what it looks like. I'll just grab a random page here. Pages, let's add a page real quick. If I go into my menu here, you can see the stackables are all in purple. So like really quickly you can find them. And you, like I said, if you get into the settings on Stackable, you can turn off anything that you're not using. But like you get so much choice with each one, it just makes my life much, much easier. All right, so next one I want to get into is newsletter, the plugin called the newsletter. So if you log into it, you get a dashboard, gives you lots of information like how many subscribers you have, how many new subscribers, things like what was the readability of emails, things like that, stuff that you could get in like a MailChimp or a Constant Contact. Lots of different ways of managing subscriptions, etc. One of the features that I really like about it, these are the newsletters that I have most recently sent. I love that I can just clone my most recent newsletter and just use it as a jumping off point for the next one. So just to give you an idea, I'm going to go copy. Yep, do I want to copy? Sure I do. And instantaneously, I have the draft of my next newsletter. I can instantly get in there and edit it. And I get a little collection of blocks here on the side of things that I can add. You can throw in logos, whatever you want to throw in, you can throw in. You can see I had some recent posts going in the last time we sent in a newsletter, different photos, whatever you want to do. And it gives you all kinds of things. You have an HTML block if you need to just pop anything else in there, whatever your outside source, whatever you need to get in there, some sort of iframe. You can do that. Comes with call to action buttons, all kinds of things. Love it. And when you are done with your newsletter, you can save it, come back to it. So you don't have to, it's not like one and done. You can save it, come back. And then you can also schedule it, just like you would like a MailChimp or a Constant Contact. You can schedule it. I mean, you want to schedule it 5 years from now, you could do that. I don't know why you would want to do that, but you can do that. So works really well. And like I said, I'm paying $69 a year for this, and it's effective. I can what? Yes, so you can see what it looks like. Absolutely, yeah. I haven't had. I think I did that the first time I used it, and I was like, oh, good, this works. And then I've never sent a test email after that. But yes, you can send a test email. Yes. I'm using Mailgun is what I'm using to do it, but it supports a variety of products that you can use. I happen to be using Mailgun, but you can do they also have like a native service that you could use. I just happen to be using Mailgun. It gives you, I think, about half a dozen choices on what you can use. No, I've not gotten spam. Good question. Yeah, no, I've not gotten flagged for any kind of like spam laws or anything like that. That's a great question. Yeah, no problem with running afoul of spam. I mean, you will, no matter what service you are on, hit people that just occasionally aren't really keeping up with things, and they'll hit spam instead of unsubscribe. Like, nobody's going to protect you from that. You can't protect yourself from human nature. But as far as just being misidentified as spam, no, I haven't had any kind of issues with that sort of thing. Great question. Steve? There's no limit to the number of subscribers. They're kept here within WordPress. I'm currently up to 3,500, and there is no limit on it. No problem. Okay. Next one up that I just kind of wanted to show you was what I was talking to you about with the duplicate post with Yoast. So if I come down here, we did this one earlier this season, but if you see right here, it's announcing our 2025-2026 season. Obviously, a year from now, it would be announcing 2026-2027. With Yoast duplicate post, I can clone the post, republish, rewrite, what have you, and you can even change your mind thereafter. So if I just hit clone here really quickly, sorry, MacBook helps if I don't right-click, clone. There we go, announcing our new season, draft, edit. I can get in there. It is an absolute clone of what our season announcement looks like. I could change this over for the next year's content. The slug here, I mean, this is like the display title, but my slug is just like our season, and it will replace it for me when I tell it to. Saves me a lot of work and a lot of time. So that is an overview of what these plugins are, how we use them. Thank you for listening to my talk. You can find me pretty much anywhere at New Yorker Laura on all kinds of social media, and newyorkerlaura.com at my website. But happy to answer any questions that anybody has. And it's awkward to run the mic around, so I'll just repeat the question once I hear it for the audio. Yes, in the back. Great. If you run my site through Core Web Vitals, I think I have a B+ right now, and that's because I personally have been lazy about sizing my images. So I will take the blame for my Core Web Vitals not being as good as they could be. You can go see my oversized JPEGs. That's what's causing it. Sorry, the question is how was Stackable as far as performance, Core Web Vitals? Absolutely no problems. It's great. It's not adding any kind of bloat to my site. Any kind of bloat to my site is due to me being too lazy to size down my JPEGs when I know better. Anybody else with questions? Yes, right here. Great question. So they give you, I think, about like 12 blocks that, let me just get it right. It's like a text block, and it gives you your classic MCE kind of interface in there. And then you've got an HTML, a call to action button. It'll pull in posts, and you can pull in as many as you want. There's some sorting features there on categories and tags. You get a separator, so you can do that, a header, and like 2 other things. So it's like pretty good for a newsletter. Like, you don't want to overload a newsletter. They do give you like an HTML block. So if you've got some kind of weird, edge case kind of thing you want to do, you can do that. And I think they also have a poll feature in there. It's not something we particularly have used, but I believe there's also a poll feature in there. You're welcome. Yes, right in the back there. Oh yeah, all of that. Open rate, bounce rate, the whole 9 yards. I would say for us, our board of directors is typically interested in the open rate and the new subscriber rate. But yes, I could go a lot more granular than that. One feature they just added this too. If you get the paid version, you can add Google Analytics on like when it goes out and everything. So you even get like a Google Analytics reading on each newsletter as well. So that's pretty cool. Yes. It is responsive, and it lets you preview. It's, again, kind of the thing I did it the first time I looked, and I was like, yay, it works. And then like I didn't really look again. But yes, you can look at it on what it would look like mobile, desktop, and I have spot checked it each time when it's gone out, and I've not found any kind of problem with that. Any kind of problem that I've found with it after we've sent is because the human who sent the email did not proofread something. That's been the only problems that I've found. Anybody else with questions? Yes? Oh, that'd be cool. I don't know, but that's a great question. They do have, with their paid models, there are 3 tiers to it. So I'm just paying for like the level 1. I wonder if that's like a level 2 or something feature, but that would be like really cool to investigate. That would be awesome. Yeah. Yes, Adam. Adam wants to know what's the use case for adding Gravity Forms to your newsletter. So maybe your form is now, like if somebody fills out a form, they're maybe like populating into a CRM, or you're attaching them for some other contact or donations or something like that. Maybe, yeah, I could see the use case. Because we're so small, it's not kind of the use case for us. But yeah, I could see where you're going with that. Might make sense. And then pop you over to the newsletter? Yeah. You could, where I think I could make that, like, before I get in there and play big time, where I know I could make that work in Gravity Forms, is Gravity Forms has, for sure, there's like an HTML bar, and I know I could just put in a button. Like, so one of the things with newsletter, aside from living on this site, it also creates a page for you on your site that's called Newsletter Sign Up. Forgot to mention that, where you can customize a bit and everything. So all I would have to do on like my contact form is just add a link to the other page that was like sign up for my newsletter. I probably could even automate it. I'd just have to dig in a little bit. But yeah, now you just gave me an idea and work. So yeah, now I know what Sunday looks like. Thanks a lot. But that's okay. That's a great use case. Steve. I am on the free version of Mailgun. Yep. Great question. Yeah. Anybody else with questions? And just to let you know, our average send, we're sending in season, which would loosely be September through June. We're probably sending 2 to 3 emails a month to circa 3,500 people. So that gives you an idea of our number of people and volume of send. Anybody else with questions? All right, well, thanks for listening to me. If you have any other questions, I'll be here for the rest of the day. Thank you very much.